Today is class number 905, and it's called The Voice of Wholeness. The Voice of Wholeness. I want to start with something we were talking about just a minute ago. And I've been thinking about this ever since we got up to Jamal's appointment, and they had canceled it after we had gone a 45-minute ride. And that was this. In Genesis 1, at 26, the word is God said, "Let us make man in our image and in our likeness." Now, in Aramaic, that word is "let us make humankind," or humanity. In our image, in our likeness means to commune with. To commune with, to me, is just like if you were looking at Lake Erie rolling down to Niagara Falls. It's constantly coming. It does not ever stop. So that means that it's already on. It's always on. That voice of truth is on, and it is pouring into mankind, communing with it. There's not two, there's just one. That is the man, male and female. Thought and feeling, which God has created. A better word than created is that God is appearing as. So God is appearing as man, male and female, thought and feeling. Now, in Genesis 2, God gives form from the man. Now, if all there is God, then God gives form. And even though the form appears to go away, there's still the man. There's only one man, spiritual man. We know this when we look at John 1. In the beginning was the Word, in principle. In the Greek term is principia. In the Word became man. The Word became form. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. So that means that I am the Word, and the Word becomes flesh. I don't care how many times people are born. I don't care how born is an appearance. Born is an appearance. It looks like material form, practical form, but we know that it cannot be the reality because practical form goes from a fetus to a newborn, to 6 years old, to 80 years old, to however long that form is going to continue to accumulate years. However, God appearing as man has no age, is the Alpha, the Omega, which you are, which I am, and we can never get that twisted. Then it says, I didn't have a chance because I'm not home, and I didn't bring a Bible, but I didn't get to look it up, but you guys can look this up. It says, you will hear a voice behind you saying, here's the way, walk in it. That voice is always with you. That voice is not always audible. Sometimes it's just an idea. Most of the time with me, it's a feeling. It's a presence. It's always there. And when I, as Jesus said, go into the Father, that's all I'm going for, to get that presence. I'm not going to God to heal any kind of a form. I'm not going to God to ask him to fix something, to change something. Because what would change if God said, in Jeremiah, I think, I am the Lord and I change not. I am you and I change not. So what am I to change? I'm never going to change anything. I'm never going to ask God to change any of that. Why? Because I can't know something that God does not know. And God does not know error. God does not know evil. God is the voice of wholeness. In Proverbs chapter 8, verse 22, he says, the Lord created me as the first of his creation before all of his works. Now, if you read that entire chapter, Proverbs 8, you will see that he's talking about wisdom. So God created me. I am wisdom. I am not mortality. I am wisdom. Now, Luke 2 and 40, it says, and the child grew and waxed strong in wisdom, knowledge, and intelligence, and the grace of God was upon him. The only thing that I am ever interested in is acknowledging the fact that the grace of God is upon me because I am wisdom. I am growing in the knowledge of who I am. That's the only thing I can grow in. And that growth is not, I'm learning something from reading something and I'm getting something out of something. That's not what growth is. Growth is every day I am meditating, I am opening up, I am allowing that which is to be drawn out of me. And it is reflecting itself as some kind of form out here in what we call this world. But we know this world is not real because Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. There's nothing of this world that is real. Because if it were, it would not change. And so we go back, hop back over in Genesis 1, and God says, you have dominion. I have dominion, yes, over whatever it is that you're looking at. You have dominion over. How do I have dominion over it? By realizing the unreality of the pictures that are being shown to me. I know that I am. And every day my confidence gets stronger and stronger and stronger. But it only gets stronger as I give it out. Luke 6 and 38, give and it will be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will men give unto your bosom. What in the world does that mean? That means they're going to start acting like God as I ignore and refuse to believe that they are acting outside of what God is. I told Jamal, I said, man, this is not you. You get up here, I said, God, I'm learning about doctor's appointments and referrals, and God needs these people. God doesn't know anything about that. God is all-knowing, omniscient, but all God knows is truth. So I said, well, I'm going to start practicing truth. How do I do that? I go into the Father. How do I do that? I start contemplating what the truth is. I am the truth. I do that every day. I turn within myself. I take these slow breaths and I think the thought, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the truth. I am the resurrection and the life. I do that all the time. I am the bread of life. Because the more I do that, the more I draw out the kinds of images that I do what? Embody within me and soul. You see, I'm not carrying an image in me I don't want to see. There's no need in doing that because I'm not going to go down a one-way street the wrong way. Not only that, it's only one way. I am. So when I look and see people doing all sorts of what is considered to be madness, my first thought has to be, that's not how God operates. That's not how God is. So the only way I can pray for you is to know that God is appearing as you. God is appearing as whoever. That's all I can do. I cannot sit down and say, God, change this man. Yeah, but what if he's hurting? when you go to a hospital, how many people do you see in there that appear to be broken down, hurting? When I take Jamal to the physical therapy and the occupational therapy, I'm telling you, there are more cars on that yard than a lot of churches. You see all these people, and they broke down. They can't walk. They're on walkers. They're on all kinds of stuff. How do I look saying, God, take this person off this walker? God's going to take what? Take who? That's the man whose being is in Christ. That is my son. Now are we the sons of God? When are we going to believe that? Now are we the sons of God? Son, Luke 15, thou art ever with me, and all that is mine is thine. One time I took a job, said, I need to increase or subsidize or add to my income. That job turned out to be one of the worst situations I've ever found myself in. And when I decided to leave it, the answer came, how can you add to all? That's a question I have for you. If I have all that the Father has, then how can I add to that? All I can do is draw more out of what's already banked in my soul. And the only thing that's banked in my soul is an idea. And once that idea is pushed out within me, once that idea causes a feeling, a feeling of confidence, a rightness, a warmth, the thought and the idea, my heart feeling that, which Greg Braden calls heart-brain coherence. Once I feel that, I know that it's all right. I don't care what chaos I'm looking at. It has to be all right because I'm not looking at the chaos. All I'm saying is let there be light. Let there be light. So now that we said all of that, what is wisdom? We just said I am. I know who it is, but what is wisdom? And the definition is a strong desire, the ability to do what? To understand, to apply what it is that you understand. If I understand that the chaos is unreal, then I also am able to apply the principle that if it's not real, I must wait for peace. I have to make peace. If the two make peace in the house, I've applied wisdom. I've applied who I am. I've asserted my identity. I am this. And so if this is who I am, and this is what I'm doing, that means the stillness, that part of mind that's still like a placid lake, it's just laying there, and I'm not going to throw any but what ifs over in that placid lake. I'm not going to throw, or this could go awry. This could go one way or the other. It cannot. It can only go one way. And if that's the idea that I throw in the placid lake, it is going to reflect an image of harmony back to me. And I am going to see it and feel it. And I am going to rest in it because there's this voice of wholeness. Who needs to be healed? The only thing that ever gets healed is what? A false belief. People don't get healed. Jesus was looking and saying, you're the Son of God. I don't have anybody to when the angels stir the water, somebody gets in it before I can. Jesus is like, will you be made whole? Will you be who you are? Will you stop looking at the chaos and identifying with it and saying, I got to do something about this? Will you just realize I am the living God? I am the Son of God. The Son and the Father are one. Yesterday, Kenny called me and said, that's what Jesus meant when he said, he who sees me sees him who sent me. I am the one who is sent, and I am the one who did the sending. There is nothing else but God. So we know that if we want something to change, the only thing that needs to change is my false belief. And the only reason I have a false belief is I kind of started straying a little bit to the left of what really is. I started looking at what appears to be going on. I started looking at and feeling like, oh man, this is bad. Oh, they did this or they did that. Who is the they? If all there is God, who is they? And the moment I realize and see God, there's no need for me to take any thought about anything else or trying to help somebody. I can't help you. What I can do is realize who you are, and that's all of the help you ever need. And once I realized that, it's like when Jesus looked at the lady who had been caught in adultery and they were going to stone her. And when he said, those of you who are without sin, those of you who have not strayed away, y'all throw the first stone. And they dropped their rocks and they went home. And he asked her, where are your accusers? That's like, where is your enemy? Where are they? She said, I don't have any. And he says, well, then neither do I condemn you. Now, in the world of practicality and what we call the mortal world, he had every reason in the world to say, yes, stone her. Every reason in the world. But he says, you can't stone a child of God. You can't stone the Son of God. Now, let's think about that. I'm going to throw a stone and kill the Son. How can I kill what can't die? That's how absolute this message is. This is not something that I read in a book and I'm starting to, let me share this out. No, this is something that I am drawing from within me and living that life every day. Does the chaos come? Yep. Does the chaos get better? No. Do I draw peace within me? Yes. Jesus walked on the waters of chaos. The Placid Lake is the only lake that there is. The beach, the beauty, the warmth, the idea. And as long as I stay with that, I heal any false belief that is tempting me to say, come in here with me. Oh, here's a false belief. If you eat from this fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, then you will be like God. I can't be like God. I can be what God is. I can be God. I am. But I can't be like God. There is nothing else. God is all there is. So there's nothing to be like God. There's just God appearing as who we are. But not God appearing as Michael Orr, the personality. Not God appearing as Jamal Orr, the one who appears to look like he needs to go and get physical therapy and endocrinology and all this kind of. The lady said, I said, what in the world is endocrinology? Oh, it has to, what? Oh, it was Ann. It has to do with diabetes. What does God know about diabetes? God don't know anything about diabetes. God just knows is. That's a great word, is. God just knows am, not I'm gonna be. Am, is. So then it's like, well, how do I get there? You're already there. So why doesn't it look like it? Well, you haven't been practicing it long enough. The more you practice, the more it starts to look like what it is that you're dreaming of. You could make a wish. What does that mean? Well, normally Webster will tell you that the wish is a strong desire for something that is not easily attained. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. I wish this. I wish that. Okay. Well, but spiritually, making a wish means to make a command, like a king and a queen. I wish. Okay. Your wish is my command. My subjects will go on and do what? They will follow that which they have been commanded to do. Who is my subject? My thought and my heart brain. I command them to be at peace about the promise or promises that God has made. Why? Because Jesus said, in and of myself, I can't do anything, but the Father within, he doeth the works. Who is this Father within? I am. I ascend unto the Father consciousness. You know, a lot of the preachers, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46, be still and know that I am God. In Aramaic, it says, turn, repent, and know that I am God. When you do it the right way, by not usurping some kind of an authority, not usurping by way of saying the personality, Michael Orr is God, there's no such God. Michael Orr can't be God. But the consciousness that I am is God. And when I turn to that consciousness, my understanding, my wisdom, which I am, I hear a voice speaking from within. Here's the way, walk in it. What way? I am that. That's the voice of wholeness. The voice of wholeness is only going to tell you who you are. The voice of wholeness is not going to tell you, speak this word to this and this is going to change. The voice of wisdom is not going to say, lay hands and these people are going to change and this. That's not going to be that. The only healing that's going to take place, the only wholeness that's going to be reflected is the wholeness of the word that says, this is who I am. This is who I am. I feel my stillness by going to the Father. Meditation, heart-brain coherence. The mind of Christ, which is our mind, which is the only mind that there is constantly in a state of stillness. So when I'm looking to get still, there's a voice saying, you're already still. Your mind is already still. You're already seeing the right way. What am I seeing the right way? That which is. There is nothing else. So sometimes this voice is a voice of revelation. It will be revealed. It goes on to say, when he appears, it'll be revealed to us. What will be revealed to you? Who you are. You're the same. I was created before the foundations of the world to be in him. I am wisdom. The ability to apply the understanding of who I am. Remaining aware of this, we're clear-headed. The mind is like, as I said, this placid lake, this stillness, no ripples in it. And the moment I place the right idea, that is the idea of wholeness, identity, who I am constantly, that's all I am to assert and affirm is who I am. As long as I do that, it's going to be like a mirror. It's going to reflect something that we call out here. It's going to reflect harmony. Now, I can't tell you what that harmony is going to look like, but I can tell you what it feels like. It feels like I ain't worried about nothing. It feels like I'm not struggling with some kind of thought. It feels like I'm taking no thought for my life. What to eat, what to drink, how to be clothed. It feels like the Father within, it is his good pleasure to give me the kingdom. What is the kingdom? Malkutha. Malkutha, that's kingdom. What is that? The wise counsel. Wise, that comes from wisdom. Counsel, that is word. The wise word. The word that I hear that says, here's the way, walk in it. See, no ripples. Not turbulence. No turbulence whatsoever. Why? Because that stillness is dissolving the appearances of error. That's the only way I can pray for anybody. I don't care who they are. The Bible says the government is on his shoulders. So the only way for me to pray for the government is to realize constantly The government is on God's shoulders, on Christ's shoulders, on my shoulders. There ain't no other way to pray. It's just to realize that there's this voice of wholeness, and as long as I assert that and understand it, I don't mean just make some statements. I mean realize the reality of what the word really is, what really is the truth, the way, the life. Then I honestly know that I hear the voice of wholeness, which is the voice of revelation, because that's all there is. If wholeness is all there is, why am I over here going, oh, that's a broken man. That's a broken woman. Where did that broken woman come from? Where did the broken man come from? Who made him? I can't find where anybody made any man other than God. Would God make a man that would break? What God does is done forever. Nothing can be added to it. Nothing can be taken away. Can the man be sick? Can the man be poor? No. What's poor? The belief. What's sick? The belief. False belief. Well, I need to do what? I need to get in line on the one way and keep going. I don't care how slow it appears to be looking. I need to be on that lane, on that line. This is it. And gradually, it appears like it happens over time, but gradually you start realizing I'm not feeling the same fears I used to. I'm not feeling the same doubts I used to. The things I desire, but what do I desire? Truth, reality, practical application of it, harmony, love. All I can do is love what the Christ is. I love my neighbor as myself. There's only one mind. What am I supposed to do with that? Thou is able to keep at perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26, verse 3. So I have to continually recognize this. There is no such thing as carnal, mortal man. This is not a reality. It's a myth. It's a myth. In this I'm sorry. I have to prove to myself that it's a myth, though. Because it's going to be sticking up its ugly head all day, every day. There's no way for it not to show up. It has to. It's how I respond to it. You notice I didn't say react? How I respond to it is going to reinforce the fact that I believe that I'm getting stronger and stronger. See, it says, in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. The joy of the Lord shall be your strength. Well, how can I get joy with all this chaos all around me? I have to remember to keep my mind stayed on thee. Who is thee? Me. Who is that? I. Where did he come from? Well, I got created before the foundation of the world. Oh, yeah? What's your name? Wisdom. What is wisdom? The ability to apply my understanding of who I really am. That's what I need to do constantly. In this consciousness, I let there be. That's the only way to let there be is to realize and look at it the right way. Let there be. See, my thought and feeling are in agreement when I say, let there be light. Let there be light. I don't care what it looks like. It looks chaotic. Let there be light. Wisdom, the right application of knowledge and understanding. Wisdom speaks audibly as ideas, as feelings, as peace. Feeling is a conviction. The two are in agreement with each other. What is the definition of faith? The assurance of that which I expect. What do I expect? I expect to apply the wisdom that I am to respond correctly in every apparent situation. Why? Because faith was the substance of things that are already in existence right now and the evidence of the invisible. Stillness, then, is a blank mind which you, wisdom, write on. What are you writing on that blank mind of yours? What are you writing on that placid lake that is the mind of yours? Because that's what you're going to see reflected back. And as long as I know that, then it's like it's not a joke, but there's a story that a cat used to jump up on a stove all the time. It would just jump up on that stove, and the cat's owner would say, "Get off of that, get down from there," and smack the cat off, and the cat would get off. But then just as soon as the cat noticed that the owner wasn't looking at it, hop up on the up on the stove. And then one day, the stove was hot, and when the owner had quit using it and walked away, the cat said, and the stove was kind of, cooling down and what have you. And the cat hopped up on that hot stove. And all of a sudden, that loud squeak, and hopped off of the hot stove. Guess what, y'all? The cat wouldn't even jump on a cold stove no more. Ever. That's the whole point. When you get it wrong and it hurts bad enough, what do? I ain't doing that no more. Every time I step out here and look and go, I need to do something to fix this, I'm doing it wrong. Every time I'm trying to make somebody understand, trying to make it clear to them, I quit. Because that man doesn't exist. That man understands God. And when I look at it, all I'm doing is supporting the fact of who he is. I am wisdom, the voice of healing, healing the false beliefs. I see it as it is. I hear my voice, the voice of wholeness. What did Paul say? I wrote it down somewhere. I think it's in 2 Timothy or 1 Timothy. One of them, Paul said, stir up the gift that's within you. I think it's 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 6, something like that. But he said, stir up the gift. What gift? The gift of truth, the gift of wholeness, the gift of wisdom, which you are, the gift of being able to know the word, to live the word. And I don't like the word unfold. I do not like that word because God doesn't unfold. God already is a perfect picture that I am, and I am the voice of wholeness. Why? Because there's only one voice, and that is your voice, and that is my voice, and those are not multiple voices. There's only one voice, one creation, one creator, one mankind, male and female, one impersonal I am. Amen. So it is.